Hey, I told them, well, I'm gonna be off social media like in the next couple weeks, so I'm doing everything private. I told everybody, that's on them, bro. I don't. None of that stuff rocks my boat. But brothers can do whatever the hell they want to do. That's what I tell all them brothers. See how your life take you. I'm not debating with nobody, or arguing with no old ass man. Mm-mm. No, no, that's a waste of my energy. These people too grown, man. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, and I do everything for free. I don't be. I got on there all my information to donate, but most people don't donate. Nah, but when I lecture in Flint, yeah, like when I go to the Templeton school, hell yeah, I get big donations. Well, when I stay in Arizona too, so when I lecture at a GCU, yeah, I get it. The student union pay me. Well, they donate to my temple. He said, "Why I do it? I love it." But you see, most of our people on here, but most of our people don't support what we doing, bro. I do this for charity. To be honest with you, most people on social media don't get my books. All the college students do, but most Moors they just on social media playing around, bro, following goofy stuff, thinking they can finna file something. They don't study in real life. I promise you that. I promise you that. But give me a second, bro. I'm about to go live. Give me a second. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I'm in Flint. Yeah, I'm in Flint, bro. Man, hold on. I'm trying to fix it. Peace, everybody. Peace, peace. I'm trying to fix something. I gotta keep trying to come on here. Let me fix it for you. I don't know if I got it right, bro. Let me see. Hold on. I don't know, man. This thing is tripping. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I'm like, whoa, this thing taking forever. I don't know why. It just been acting strange today. But so much. First of all, everybody should be liking this, man. Like some of the same people be on here. And like I say, with all respect, please don't come over on my page just playing. I'm gonna block you. I'm not even gonna respond to no craziness. No adult should be on here playing. And you're not incognito when you're on social media. I just want you to know that you pinging off a tower. I hope brothers know that you are pinging off a tower. And if you like the teachings, man, share the teachings. Check out my handle of all my companies. And if you want to donate, if you don't want to donate, I understand because you don't have to. But when you do donate and you send me your email and stuff, man, I send you so much, I send you so many gifts. I have a full library. With all due respect, I have a full library with over 1 million books and documents. People have been following me for 5 and 10 years on this social media. I'm like, what, you a groupie and you still haven't came to class or nothing? I said, you watch me travel all over and be a teacher and we still don't come together? I don't be understanding. Yeah, hold on. Let me turn that up, brother. Let me turn it up 1 second, okay? Yeah, let me turn it up 1 second. But it's only one science, and I just don't understand why we don't come together, man. I always tell brothers like, what y'all think this is some gang, like this Crips or Bloods, or who can say something, or like this is some debate, or this person sound better than this. I said, this is not that, man. I asked everyone, if you have kids, what do you want your kid to do? You want your child to have a great education. You want your child to be honorable. But anything that you're doing, would you want your child to do it, and would you teach someone else's child to do it? I don't think so. So in moral science, I think a lot of people just got it misconstrued because the divine comes first, and moral science is way deeper than what a lot of people just be talking about on social media because it became popular. You know, I mean, for me, knowing what the Moral Science Temple consists of, being part of that organization, but also having the honor to go to academia and be homeschooled by my parents, that's educators, and be able to, grow up in different spiritualities as a young man. I can show you pictures. My parents had a library at our house. I grew up in IDMR studying scriptures at a young age. Also in my city of Flint, I was a divine minister in two Baptist churches. I spoke just like this in a Baptist church. With all due respect, anybody can look me up. I'm in my city of Flint right now. And that's why I created my temple in school. Why? And that's why I went to university. And that's why I'm matter factual of what I'm saying. Why? Because can no one that look like me come with that mumbo jumbo? Because if any of our brothers talking and I tell you that they 32 and 33 degree Masons, or they are in a Greek fraternity, I'm telling you, I know this matter factual. And I don't have to talk about anyone, but what I'm saying and what I know, that's snowman wisdom. And if your dad, your mama, your uncle, your cousin, whoever you may know, with all due respect, that's a Mason, a 32, 33 degrees, that's a Prince Hall Mason, that's only snowman wisdom. And my European colleagues is not the joke of masonry. It's the Negro. No, to all disrespect. With all due respect, for educational purposes only. For educational purposes only. Because the misnomer black man would call himself or herself a widow's son. All my Scottish Rite other man Masons that y'all know are sons of Muslims. With all due respect. In the biblical scripture, when you hear the story of Haram Abith, and you hear Jabal, Jablum, and Jablim, who mauled the Asiatic black man, it's in the biblical text. It's in the biblical text. The lower house is Christianity. The higher house is Islam, and they become a practicing Mason. And the password is Assalamu alaikum. And ain't no disrespect. All the books is on a Masonic house. That's why I be laughing at brothers on social media playing. I say, you ain't never been in no Masonic house. My dad right here. I grew up and stuff. My dad was a Mason right downtown. The Moorish Science Temple of America was on Martin Luther King Avenue. I grew up in science. We all have background things. That's why I be telling people, no, man. I be telling people, I say, no, that ain't my science. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I lost my baby brother, killed Khary Goodman Bey. Let me tell y'all just the background. I lost my cousin, Miguel Swain, got murdered. My friend Marlon Ville got killed by the police. His brother, Mike Ville, got killed by his brother. My friend Michael Blackmore got killed in middle school. I'm just saying, with all that, I still was able to do great things and come back to my city of Flint and do great things for my people. My more science ain't everybody more science, man. I'm getting ready to give 4 backpacks away through my organization I started in Flint, a Sin Mentor Ministry. It's been preachers all in my city of Flint I grew up with. They ain't done nothing. Excuse my candor, with all due respect. Why I say that? Because I'm in my city. See, I can talk that talk. I'm from the city. Y'all see me walking the streets. I say, you ain't did nothing but sucking money. They don't even like the people in the city. They can talk that jive turkey stuff all they want to, with all due respect. That's why I said, I stand alone. I stand alone. And I teach and I manifest and I promulgate whatever I'm saying on the corner with a bullhorn. Nothing that I'm saying I'm afraid to say in front of anybody. Politician, lawyer, police chief, mayor, city council. I'm standing my ground. Why? Because if you ain't coming about law and policy and agenda, you can't have no conversation with me because I know game. I know game. I'm trying to tell you, that's why I got my own charter. That's why I got my own fraternal order. I'm telling you facts. I bet you anybody you know that's a Freemason, your father, your uncle, or Prince Hall Mason. I'm a member of the Philosophical Research Society. When they be talking that stuff, I love my brothers and sisters, but it's only a tutu of wisdom that all my brothers that I done met know. And then you got the radical ones that always come with the back to Africa stuff, and they be so gun ho with that. And I never get into arguments with people. I let people have things. But academia, you will fail with the highest fail. you will fail with the highest fail or the highest failure. You'll be attempting all this, and you'll see that the world is big. The world is big. And so you will see from a lot of our brothers and sisters, when we talk about the other man, I said the other man has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I promise you. It's us, just like Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the NEGRO is our preachers and our teachers, because brothers are afraid to teach the truth. You will go learn academia with me and through scholarship, and I know you went through scholarship, and then you will get up there and preach something totally opposite. Like totally opposite. And then look at me. I said, man, you ain't got to look at me. That's why we building our own. That's why the Creator is allowing us to do this, to stand strong and say, oh, when the tides turn, when people are going to have to profess what they've been professing, it's over. I'm telling you. And a lot of our brothers and sisters don't know the sciences. It's just like in academia, degrees. This ain't just no plaything and no lodge where brothers got a drinking well in the basement. You know, this ain't that. This is a brotherhood. This is building people up, just like the junior scouts. Just like if you're a scout, you go through the Tiger Cubs, and then you go through all the other ranks. It's a brotherhood. And then if people using money, you got to understand that you taxes in for the federal government. Religious, charitable, scientific, and educational wise. So somebody on here, I'm going to answer questions. If you ask me something crazy, I'm just going to block you. But this question that this person is asking is relevant. So I'm going to ask it. But if anybody come on here playing, joking, you're just going to be blocked. I'm just letting you know that from the giddy up. But I will ask questions before I get into this. But I'm going to answer this question because this is a good one. Mesto Atiso. I'm on my YouTube channel. This is what this person said. It said, why do religious folks feel the need to beg for money? Well, I don't know. I can't speak for other people. I'm never going to speak for other people. What I always say is, if you know any religious people, if you know churches, go to the churches and ask them. Why do they ask for money or X, Y, Z? Just like the same way you were on my page asking. So now for me, I'm a temple and school that's tax exempt for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, educational wise. So we ask for suggested donations. Why? For literature, for just like I say, if you go to the movies, you pay. Just like if you go to the hip hop club, you pay. Just like if you go listen to somebody to a club, you pay. So what I'm saying is, when we're taxing them for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, educational wise, we can donate to our religious and charitable scientific organization of our choice. And we can do what? Build some of the things that I say we should own. What? Our church, our private schools, etc., houses. And so those funds should be used for those things because we are taxes in for the federal government. If we don't understand that, then we're giving all our money away to Uncle Sam. And we just watching movies like TV shows like Sopranos, and I've been breaking these scenarios down forever. That's why a lot of my professors said, you've been saying this forever, and they still ain't understood what you're talking about. I said, well, I know we are stiff-necked people because we let a small tittle of how can I say, premeditated scams influence us to not trust things that we should. And then what happens? No infrastructure. We talk about religious communities. When you're a religious community, you understand you can donate to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. So when you're part of that organization, when you're part of that, you do things together. All your clothing, this, that, and the other. We buy houses under that tax exempt status. And then you can get a tax exempt receipt to give to your tax preparer. Because the whole thing is to give Uncle Sam less and support your religious and charitable scientific organization of your choice. That's why all the Jewish churches is popping. That's why all the Catholic churches is popping. I be telling my people, but we look at it because we've been put in front of us. We now the type of image you may be talking about is what you see on TV. And I hate to say, but y'all know the names. So you got to know the names. You're talking about those mega churches that just got the big old stadium. They ain't doing nothing. So for me and for anybody to ask me, I say, question them. Question those that we know, that have all that, because I ain't got it all like that. So I can't speak for them, but I can speak for me, and I can show my work. Like we already have a functional library. I already know how to teach kids how to study online and adults online and to get laptops. I already know how to use privately where we don't got to share our teachers. Where I got this whole platform, Zoom, where I can have hundreds of people on there. And then I know how to pre-record stuff and send it to students. I know how to do it's a lot. And then I know how to use our funds to build our brick and mortar or buy something and everybody get a tax-exempt receipt. I'm talking about infrastructure. I ain't talking about mega church. I'm talking about teaching not only children and adults as well, having classes. Why? Because I have that structure. Garden, microeconomics, macroeconomics, how to balance a checkbook, how to grocery shop, teaching the kids how to sew, teaching the young boys auto mechanics, teaching them masonry to work with their hands. So when we buying these houses under our religious organization, them brothers coming in, they fixing them up. We got our own skill center. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I have a whole blueprint. They used to do this in the schools. They don't do it no more. Now we can do it. How? With the money we giving Uncle Sam. I keep telling people, that's how we roll. And then with this, it's just like anything, just like any other group that a person in. Look at the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts, all the money they raise for the cookies and stuff. It don't go to them. What they get, a trinket? What I'm saying is we can do things the right way because we're supposed to have infrastructure, not to go in my pocket. This ain't for me to say, oh, well, let's say we a $1 million, a $50 million operation a year. I don't have 50 million. 50 million ain't for me. This ain't no for-profit organization for me to be riding around in those stupid Bentley. I don't even like cars like that. I don't even like to drive. If anything, we're going to have a couple buses, we're doing some things, what we're going to be doing, we're going to have our religious community. We have our temple in our neighborhood. We buy the neighborhood. You heard what Nipsey said, buy the block back. We buy the block back. How? Under our religious and charitable scientific organization. How? The money we giving Uncle Sam. That's how we do. It's easy. It's easy. This is what I'm telling people. Have y'all ever seen The Sopranos? Listen, why you think the gangster was able to talk to the so-called priest? Because the priest had lawyer and client confidentiality. Misnomer BLACK preachers, they get subpoenaed because they under the faith-based initiative, aka the FBI. When they get that bread, no disrespect, it's acronym FBI because it's the faith-based initiative where you have to teach government mandated spirituality. With all due respect, that's why I have my charter and my fraternal order. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling you, just like any fraternity, just like any Masonic order, mine, yes, same way. Same way the prophet set the temple up. That's why I got my own, so I'm not under no rhetoric. I give credit to our prophet and all that. I don't disrespect nothing. I ain't recreating the temple. Don't want to do that. I have my own school, the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. I teach young people. I teach all my homies. I done had so many people graduate from college. My alma mater, Grand Canyon University and Clear University. I'm back in my city of Flint. I done helped so many people graduate from Mott, and now they're getting ready to go to probably U of M Flint. But this is what I do. And I created my own. And I do very well. I do very well. That's why I said, we have our own organization, my nonprofit organization I started here in my city of Flint, Ascend Mentor Ministries. And I know how to go to these stores and solicit to see if I can get donations to get backpacks and stuff. So for our 810 day, I'm going to have, like, everything go right, at least 400 backpacks. At least 400 backpacks filled with good supplies. I want to get all the kids' numbers because what we're going to manifest is our 7th hour. And then, after when the kids get out of school, the parents be able to bring them there for, or the bus bring them there for a little bit to get these extra curricular studies. And then in the summertime, we have the summer feeding program where the parents can drop them off, when they get ready to go to work in the morning, pick them up around, maybe 4 or 5. And we have specific agendas, for the kids and programs each day to specifically fit their needs. What I'm saying is, of course, we do group things, but we're going to see where those kids need that extra, because we have people on board to do that. And I've been in Arizona for the last 12 years. I work in behavioral health therapy and working with autistic kids. And I work with all different backgrounds of kids. That's why I'll be laughing when people come on here and be disrespectful. I say, man, I don't work with so many different nationalities with their kids that they can't even handle. I done worked in living facilities called youth development institutions. So I just have a gift in that. And so we'll be able to do these things and, to see where that go. And we're tax exempt for the federal government. And so a lot of these things is more than just about, on social media talking occult sciences, because I can give it to you, it's very simple. I was honored, and I have gratitude for, the professors I met, especially my parents. That's number one for inspiring me, but the connections I made, with a lot of the Rosicrucian order with my professors, with a lot of Scottish Rite Masons. I'm just being honest. And I say, my brothers and sisters, it's a lot that need to be taught. It's a lot of our elders that just took us there, and I give them all respect, but they know they can't say nothing to me disrespectful. They took us to a place and they stopped. Why? Because of your oath. This is just facts. This is just facts, and it ain't no disrespect, because our brothers had to be a part of something. Our brothers had to be a part of something. But when you are the originator of something, you don't need no yes, or you don't need no stamp from the other man. With all due respect, because when you get to the meat and potatoes, I'm gonna show you it's all you. Signs and symbols of the primordial man. Read that. What, by Albert Churchward. I hope y'all writing this down. So to answer your question, I don't see there's nothing wrong with people raising money if you in the right manifestation. Why? Because one, you're giving it to Uncle Sam anyway. You let Uncle Sam take, when you get a job on that forum, it's a couple percentages that Uncle Sam take out your check. Some people want them to take a lot because they think they're getting a tax return. But I ask a person, okay, how much you let Uncle Sam take out of your check? This is why I know our people don't be honest, because if they were, then we'd already be where we need to be. We're talking about powernomics still, and I already got the blueprint. I'm trying to tell you. But this stuff, it's not complex. Because I can go on and 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 on with the simplicity of it. Like, listen, we're tax exempt for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, educational wise. What you mean, Sheik? You're going to give it to Uncle Sam. If you make $100,000, you have no deductions, you owe Uncle Sam. The whole thing is to give Uncle Sam less and support your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. And then hold them accountable for you can do what? Build infrastructure in the community. And all you got to do is get a taxes and receipt. See, these is keys. It's set up that way. If we don't understand this, when we're dealing with righteousness, we'll never have nothing in our community. And I'm showing a blueprint or a template. This is a blueprint or a template. Nobody tax evade. You live in a neighborhood community, you working. Yes, you can have a living trust. We ain't talking about that right now. But we're talking about tax on the money that you make before it's taxed. And if you're smart, you donate to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice to build infrastructure instead of giving it all to Uncle Sam. This is what I'm saying. And this is how you build infrastructure. This is how you build a religious community. This is how people can donate. This is how the hustler can donate. This is why I be telling people, it's like you can donate this and that and other and get a taxes and receipt. Just like the Goodwill. The Goodwill is 100% why, because people donate. We are the same thing. Just like when you give your money for taxes, it's in a private banking system. I'm a private banking system. And so I just show this to people. I've lectured this and know over and over. That's why I have a couple professors from my alumni that really work with me, And I knew when I came home back to the city of Flint, when I was able to really see people's faces and see some of the elders, I just keep, looking for the right property before I won't go over my head. But Allah is showing me, the creator is showing me something that I'm going to be able to purchase one. I'm going to be able to purchase one, and all of us going to be stakeholders. And we're going to be able to show the people where we done bought one of these beautiful, beautiful, to me, you say a church, but it don't. I know what they were before churches. I showed y'all what all the buildings look like inside, and It's so historical. A lot of these monuments, we just gonna buy one and change everything. I'm telling you, and we all can be stakeholders. We can have our computer lab, our basketball gym, our after school activities. We can have all these things. We can have our seventh hour. We can be pillars in the community. We have a full library. How? Just off the money we giving Uncle Sam. How? Off donations. And I can give everybody a tax exempt receipt. See, I'm not one of them people. I'm not one of them people that's gonna get on here and say, oh, we can do this, we can do that. No, I'm gonna show you. I already have real companies. If you are more, you should get a lot of your Moorish regalia from me. MoorishHaberdasher.com. You see the regalia, everything I have, I provide. I have a couple of my designers. They make some of the clothing on there. We have a lot of companies, you know, mypdfbooks.com, books with a Z, where we print and bind expensive and rare books. No, that's mypdfbooks.com, books with a Z, where you can download books to your tablet. And if you want to print them, they'll print them, my people, or Office Max and Staples will print them. But we got a lot going on, man. That's why I ask people, subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube channel at Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, if you don't mind. Please subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube channel. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's my name, Khary Ibna Hakim Goodman Bey. And share it at least, man. Because I promise y'all, man, we're going to do something beautiful in my city of Flint where we're changing a lot of things. But I'll give you all just a little tittle of this occult wisdom, and I'm gonna get out of here. But family, we got to start unifying. And it's a lot of things that's happening that I talk privately. I don't like to talk too much because I don't care about politics too much. I care about law and policy. And a lot of our people just get caught up in emotion and feeling, you know. You say, how can I? You say, Islam Noble, how can I join the science in school? Noble, you know what? I like to tell everybody, you already a part, bro. And I know I was talking to spirit. Just if you ask and you already a part. That's why I tell people, all you have to do is come to class, subscribe, hit us up, and court me. Because I have to be honest before I get started. My door is like a revolving door, and money don't mean nothing like that to me. To be honest, what mean a lot to me is consistency. What mean a lot to me is brothers want to learn. Because if you just want something, if a person thinks there's going to be a magic trick, I don't have a magic trick for you. Or if a person just want a piece of literature, just say what literature you want, and I just charge you a small donation. Or if you something you want that, and that's all I ask brothers court for a minute. Because all I ask for a lot of time when people come is donations. That's all I ask for. I tell people, if y'all want to join me privately, you can. Most of my muftis, y'all see, we be on a StreamYard, but we meet privately through the week. Now, we do have a syllabus, and we do have a student manual, because my muftis do donate a percentage each month, depending on how they feel. None of my muftis donate more than $200 a month. And I got muftis that make good money. Why? Because everybody is different with their finances. And what we're doing as men is correcting a lot of things that we maybe have not looked at. And when we look at things in a certain fashion, sometimes the person may have messed up spending habits. And those things are needed to be corrected. And whatever time it needs to be taken, need to do that. Some things need to be shaved off. For instance, my muftis, we work out every day. My mufti, Lamarck Barclay Bey, he's the trainer 5 days a week, early in the morning. They do it at 5 a.m. It'd be like 8 a.m. here in Michigan. And then my noble Malik Reed, he do it on the weekends. And so my noble Gregory Moso L, he's like our herbalist. He sell a lot of teas at Mayat Sun Teas. And then also I do teas here locally. I don't ship nothing out, but I'm local. So I'm like a herbalist. A lot of the books that they study from like herbology from Herb Study, and a lot of the herb books that Dr. Sebi, because I love Dr. Sebi, don't get me wrong, but a lot of science came from the Honduras doctor. It's a piece of catalog called Herbology for Home Study. And I've been offering it to people, but like I say, it is what it is. But we also have 10 acres. You say been watching your videos for a while. Well, gratitude, man. Gratitude and love. I hope you share them with all due respect, because I promise y'all, I want everybody not just to have a front seat. I don't want everybody to here to be participators. I mean, excuse me, just spectators. I want everybody to be a participator, no matter how much or how little you can. This all because we about to do a beautiful thing. And I tell people I'm a real person. A person can call me right now and be like, man, people already know me. I got brothers all over the state. That's what I'm saying. And not just melanated. If you read one of my aims, I have a universal brotherhood without no biasness over color, race distinction. Why? I can't be like that. If I'm a holy man, if I'm a medicine man, a medicine man don't, I'm not going to heal you based off your color. Man, you better go on. Most people I met in Arizona that call me Melchizedek, that operate with me, don't even look like me. With all due respect. So I definitely don't operate like that. But I have pride and understanding in who I am. You know? So what I'm saying is, brother, all you got to do is hit me up. We have a syllabus. I don't know if you looked on our webpage and all that. Just to see what we all about, you know, which I know you say you've been watching for a minute, but it's a lot of stuff we do personal. Like all my brothers, they have a full library. And when I say a full library, you probably go on my noble Dante Smith L social media. He's in St. Louis. Him and his Empress just started, you know, having a booth at the farmer's market. You will see a table, man, with a plaque, because he print all the books. It's just amazing. His wife sell all the soaps. And what I always like to do is bring the best out of everyone, because here at the BBT, we all are born with gifts. I'm just what we call a shaman, a medicine man. If we were in a different manifestation, I'll be a foreman, you know, putting people in a position that work best for them. And that's a functioning body, one body in many parts. You see what I'm saying? And that's what this is about here at the BPT, is what I'm trying to say, brother. What I'm trying to say, I meet everybody where they are. But brothers must want to be cleaned up. Brothers can't build on rubble. A lot of brothers, with all due respect, they done came in and came out. Ask my muftis. They done came in and came out, because I be smelling it, and I give you what you're looking for, with all due respect. And then a person would be embarrassed. I said no, because this science, you got to get all them videos out of you. And then they be laughing. They be like, what you mean, Sheik? I said, you got to get all them videos out of you. You know? Yep. I told you. Yeah, you said, yes, sir. I share my brothers and sisters, but a lot of people be confirmation bias and anti-scholarship to more science and Moorish identity. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can, like, it's so many videos like fact or fraud that have people getting caught up in all this crazy stuff. You'd be like, man, it's a little dude on social media. It looked like a little muscle bound man with affairs, but he be showing all the crazy stuff people be doing. But I tell people, a lot of stuff you have to do is get off the internet. You have to get off the internet if you want to learn, because you can't learn history and science on the internet unless you're dealing with history and science on the internet. There's no other way. There's no way you can learn history and science on the internet without listening to history and science on the internet. I hope that resonated. Watch, because I ain't even got into science yet. Because I'm glad Noble said this, because that's what we do. That most of us haven't done with scholarship. We deal with groups. I just said it's like Crips and Bloods. That's what we do. That's what everybody do. Everybody have watched a video. Man, how many people you think study and read? Man, most adults have a 20-minute attention span. They'll watch a whole Love and Hip Hop or Power and all that all day. It's no scholarship. Most of the brothers dropped out of school in high school. Some didn't even get that far. Think about what I'm saying. And if brothers so knowledgeable, no one should be in poverty. No one. Why? Because we should know the tools to be able to do what? Do community work. That's why I say when you look at the body of the work, because we have to look at it as a body. That's what you get. And then you have to start breaking it down as the age of the individuals that's involved with it. When you start seeing the age group, you'll be like, oh, it's something psychological. The psychosis is wrong with these individuals, with these group of individuals. This is what I'm saying. And when you judge it like that, you'll be like, my. So everybody basing their idea on what? Things that can be proven. It's a fallacy. It's like talking about Willie Lynch and we say we still messed up on some Willie Lynch, but Willie Lynch is not real. There's no such thing as the Willie Lynch letter. So if you trying to explain something, it's not even real. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we get into. That's what social media have done. Social media have got in the misnomer religious community as popularity. Just like the DEI, just like in communities when you vote for politicians, you're not voting for the right person, the one that has the skills and understanding that's going to bring something to the people. You vote for the person you like or you nice. Nice has nothing to do with the person that's being right for the position. I tell people about language and semantics and words. Words have spells. No one with none of that court gesture stuff would sit and have a conversation with me. Why? Because I just get the right people that'll referee it, that everybody be afraid to talk to. Who? Like prosecutor attorney, and I get a judge, two of them that's retired, and they'll sit and we'll just be able to go for tat and see how it'll work. When people be telling you to do stuff, and we'll see how it'll work for you. Because a person to have you making something up in court that you can't explain. And it's easy for me to get you caught up in something that you can't explain. That means you lying. And it's a penalty for that. I tell people this. When you listen to people on social media with fictitious names, it draw up in Fuji dust. I always have to tell people this. But our people, they want to test it. I said, oh, you want to learn how to be a criminal at an adult age. I always say, look up Roger Elvig. For educational purposes only. I tell people this, and I say you're going to get caught up in a web that you're not going to be able to get out of. Because one, you don't have enough money. One, you're not astute enough. And number two, you're going to tell because you're going to talk. And you got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And then you say to the police and nothing's going to help you with your case unless you get immunity. And then you're going to get a court-appointed attorney. And you're going to plead to a lesser charge. See, this is what I know. With all due respect, for educational purposes only, I can give y'all precedent in law cases and tell you everything person is telling you is Fuji does. It's precedent in law cases, doc number, Free Information Act. That's what I be telling people. I say, man, you got to stop playing. This is free information. Just like I tell people the 1099, there's no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. It's a religious affidavit. You can get the letter from the county clerk recorder of deeds. I keep telling people that's just how the Moorish Temple of America was established. It's so much. So when people have that on their plate, I say, man, they already done put the mandate out. I done told people this. Some people done came to Arizona and they still behind bars, still today. And I told you, I said, you cannot play these games. Why do you think these people is disappearing? With all due respect, all that USAR stuff, and one of them brothers in trouble and begging for legal help. But I thought they was this, that, and the other. With all due respect, I tell people you cannot play fake Monopoly in these people courts. Why? Because what you're going to do is you're going to plead to a lesser charge. I'm telling you, and nobody has no immunity, and nobody is no foreign national. That's an oxymoron too. Just like a sovereign citizen, that's an oxymoron too. A foreign national? Like, what do you mean? Research Roger Elvig and tell me what you get. Research the Paradigm Group and tell me what you get. Tell me what you get and tell me, do that sound like the same language? I tell my brothers and sisters, the divine comes first. The divine comes first. You must be willing to get a flush and fill and reboot your hard drive, to invest and to inject in anything. Because what most brothers done got into this science, and y'all know it, is because they want to not do this, or I want to cancel corporate debt, or you telling me I don't have to pay this, and such said I don't have to pay this no more, and such I can drive without no license. I knew a dude that was a truck driver gave up his license, and they let him go. Don't you know, smart guy, driving those big rigs is contingent on you having your license and some insurance, and you done met some people on social media, and you an adult, and convince you to rock like that, and you signed a contract with a whole nother individual or company, and it's contingent on X, Y, and Z, and then not only that, say you making $250,000 a year, now the psychosis of that thinking definitely is messed up. Think about what I'm saying, family, and everybody know we're talking about adults. And with all due respect, and I'm not disrespecting no mores or MERS, whatever you people want to call it, but I'm telling you, I ain't never seen this many men, adults, that seem like they just made it out special ed class. With all due respect, Oh, we got some secret. Oh, we got some secret. This. You don't got no secret what? Secret what? That secret thing ain't made you no money. That secret thing ain't made you be right on some bills. I mean, what we talking about? I always ask brothers, I say, would you would you let somebody drive you, big mama, and your babies around in a car with no insurance that's not registered on the highway and the byway? I asked him more of this. He said, no. I said, well, why are you telling people to do it on social media, sir? Oh, well, that's different. See, exactly. You don't care about nobody else. I care for you. If I got a van or anything, it's going to be proper insured. Why? Because you trusted me that I got all that to be traveling your kids or your grandma or anything around. Say if I got a senior service, I'm taking seniors to go get their medicine and all that and to senior appointments because that's getting ready to pop off too. You think I got to have the proper insurance? I ain't playing that. I don't play no games. Why? What is it going to do for me? What is it going to do for you? This ain't building no community. This ain't doing it. That ain't doing nothing for us. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna always be transparent and tell people like that's not real. Ask me anything. I say your life. This stuff these old people doing, they not telling you. They just regurgitating stuff because they think it's sauce or they think it's or what they say. Let me give you the sauce or what they say to play. That's what they be saying, y'all. To play. All they doing is what Michael Novick did. Y'all don't see this. See, they can't come to me with none of that. These people doing the same thing Michael Novick did. Y'all don't see it? Y'all don't see it. Oh, my fault. Hold on, y'all. Let me put this back up. I was testing something. Hold on. Why I do that? I don't know. But do y'all hear me, y'all? What people be doing to us? Well, not us. Because I can get all in the occult wisdom, but my homeboy said, hey, right, she. Because if they got something so magical, y'all, they'll tell the truth. I'm not even going to get into this today. I'm getting ready to. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that because I'm going to save it for tomorrow. I'll save it for tomorrow. I don't know what people doing. That's like I say. I don't know. I don't know what people doing. With all due respect, I'm not gonna tell people what they doing. I'm not arguing what people doing. All I'm gonna do is give precedent law case, doc number, and say, look this up. Navigate how you please. I ain't telling nobody what to because I think it's irrelevant because I think everybody think they know. And then I asked the person, well, did you go to court with that? Well, no, I did. I said, well, do you know anyone? Well, can you give me the precedent law case? Well, give me the doc number. No one can give me nothing that they say they know. No one. And I said, well, if that's the case, what are we talking about? And when people saying they got this in trust, I said, well, what do you have? Why are we doing why are we concerned about all these things and people don't even have nothing? With all due respect. When I ask a person, what you gonna put in the trust? No matter which trust you have, what do you have to put in the trust right now? Anybody, the average person, I'll be asking them. I'll be like, nothing. Why? Because most people don't hear begging when I say they trying to get something from the government. With all due respect, you can file this. I asked a person that be promulgating your social security number is attached to some millions. I said, well, if this person say your social security number is attached to some millions, and then they try to say, well, no, I mean credit, this, that, and the other, credit, smet it. If yours is attached to all that, where is theirs? Where is theirs? Because if yours attached to it, where is their money? I mean, people still ain't figured this out, and people still falling for this. I said, but they telling you this, not the other. Okay, well, show me the proof that you did it. Everybody got cameras on when all this time, but why the cameras ain't on when you done it? Because every time I went to court, the camera was on. What we talk about, man? Anything I went to court that was like for when I was in my lower self, anything, it's recorded. That's why I tell people, I said, a real God, man, don't go to court. What, go to court and do what? And beg for what? And file for what? Tell me what you're going to do. When a person be talking about a status correction, I said, what you correcting? Nobody can even tell that you can't even, you annex your L or your Bay. What you mean? You annex your last name is your coat of arms, your family crest. See, that I keep telling people, with all due respect, for educational purposes only, the copied you. People don't know they coat of arms. That's the issue too. When I tell people, I ain't say it wasn't some people from Africa, all people wasn't from Africa, with all due respect, but I get what you're saying with descent. Yeah, I understand. It's scholarship. When you get the one world Tartarians, I have a full library. I lecture this all in academia. The so-called transatlantic slave trade did not happen how you thought it happened. And all this stuff is in the world archives for educational purposes only. It's no disrespect. But I'm not here to argue with no one. That's why I said I had the pleasure to be in academia and talk with professors from all different backgrounds. Just like when I met some of the Brahmin brothers, and they was like, well, the Moorish Quran is from the Brahmin text and the Vedas and the Unto Thee I Grant and the Moorish Akashic records. I said, absolutely. And the Vedas. I tell people, I said, man, I'm not here to argue with what nobody got going on. I said, I promise. I said, I have no disrespect with no one. I said, I have a full understanding. Man, it's just like if you've been trained or something. That's a form of initiation. Just like if you're going through martial arts and you're going through different goals, it's a form of initiation. Do you take an oath? No. Take an oath to what? Not to tell the truth. I'm speaking. Ain't nobody paying me nothing. I'm not in no hall. I'm talking freely. That's why I tell people, man, I have no patience or to argue with no Moors. Some Moors are at the level that they are. You will see some Moors trying to put C. Freeman L. and Bobby Hemmett together. I don't do that. Those are two tools in the toolbox. That's what we do. We X our people out, and that's something wrong with us. That's something wrong with us. But then when you see the other man, and you will see Edgar Case, you will see Neville Goddard, and all of them, they'll be standing them all next to each other like figures, and then we start Xing each other out. You see? And then I tell you, like Neville Goddard was learned by the Ethiopian rabbi, Abdullah. I got all these books I can show y'all. But we go to the charlatan stuff, with all due respect. With all due respect. People, it's really sad. And I ask people, I say, listen, we don't have to play no fictitious games impersonating state figures or because we don't love ourselves. We don't have to do that. We don't have to go get no badges with some AA22 number on it. And I done told y'all that AA22 number gonna get a lot of things misconstrued. I want to be politically correct because, I get striked, they'll ban me. So I want to be politically correct when I say these things, when it's meaningless. When I try to tell people, don't get caught up in pageantry. Don't get caught up in pageantry. Don't get caught up in cosmetics because cosmetics is meaningless. I promise y'all. When people be giving people titles, I tell people, I say, hey man, a lot of things I'm not gonna argue with people. And then when he say everything is a choice, slavery is a choice, liberty is a choice, I get those statements. But when people say slavery, I just tell people when people say slavery, a lot of stuff didn't happen how we think. Because before so-called slavery, you had they were white and they were slaves. You had white cargo. You had, with all due respect, you had so much that I just don't understand. A person is really want to go all the way back and really see what's going on. When we talk about with the Arabs, when the so-called Africans had all the so-called European Albion troglodytes in their harems, with all due respect. So when a person say slavery, with all due respect, and for educational purposes only, with all due respect, I'll be asking the person, well, what perspective are you coming from? Are you coming from a black perspective or are you coming from a white perspective? With all due respect, and educational purposes only, most people be coming from a black perspective. Well, I said, well, we're going to go back a little bit. Let's talk about this. And no one want to have that conversation. And I say, I know. Because see, that's what we do. And then when I show you what the Russian writer said, like, what's his name? Bertram Thomas. No, not Bertram Thomas. Vladimir Dale. He have an 1828 Webster Dictionary, a Russian scholar, and he tell you who the ancient Arab is, A-R-A-P. I'm using that as a reference, black and white attitudes. No, I'm using that as a reference. Come on, I'm not here to debate with no one. Come on now. When I say that, I used it for reference. When a person, because I like to have questions, but we're going to keep it all the way legit. When you said everything is a choice, slavery is a choice, liberty is a choice. So I was responding to that question. I said, well, what type of slavery? That's what I say, because the concept of slavery where one person might have, another individual might not have. And I say, are we talking about the concept of what? The slavery that's been taught in school? Or are we talking about that something beforehand? Or are we going to talk about both? So when we switch the context and say black and white are attitudes, I hear what you're saying, but now we out of context. And that's what I don't do. You know what I mean? I don't play semantics. We stand in certain context of a conversation that we had. When we go in a different realm using black and white as attitudes, that's a different context. That's just a different context, with all due respect. Brother Great Yoda, God, what is it, Gazoo? Or the Great Yoda Gazoo? If I'm pronunciating it right, I'm not trying to pronunciate your handle wrong. I'm not trying to, yeah. That's what I always, that's why I always say, sometimes a lot of our answers be biased. Just like if I ask a person, who's the best rapper in New York, that's past between Biggie and Tupac. Some people might say, most people say Biggie. Yeah, I know you're giving me your opinion. I'm not disagreeing. Once again, the great Yoda Gazoo, I'm not disagreeing with your opinion. I understand that. But for educational purposes only, as I keep saying, context. We stand in proper context. Context. It's just like, with all due respect, once I'm gonna break it down again. If we're dealing with, how can I say? If we're dealing with subjective and objective, and I say, well, then we got to deal with the matter-factual. The matter-factual is what? Subjective, objective. And then you say, well, this is my opinion. That person say, well, we're not dealing with the opinion at this moment, but we understand, and we're not going to disrespect, and we're not going to try to push that on nobody. Well, be like, well, I'm just giving my opinion. We get that, but that's not what we're discussion that we're having. With all due respect, when I say when we keep things, clear. It's like if it was a lecture, and I'm not disrespecting you, and you're not disrespecting me, but we're having dialogue, and that's why I stay in context, because I don't. That's where I won't let myself or yourself we go all out the realm of the proper context that we're having, to where it won't, lead to personal feelings. Because don't nobody care what I think. Nobody care what I think. You know, we showing what can be seen, and we giving compare and contrast, and sometimes we might be opening up something that no one never seen. That's why I always ask people, have you ever been to a lecture, to an academic lecture? Most of the people I've dealt with, they said no. And I said, I promise you, if you ever came to a lecture, especially one of mine at GCU, it'd be in proper context. And everybody be like, with no disrespect, they'd be like, sir, this proper context, you probably would have got the notes on what it is. They probably would have gave you questions to be like, please stay in context of the question that you may have, and blah, 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 blah. It'll probably already give you a highlight of what I'm talking about. That's all. And that's how, like I said, when I teach certain things, I'm teaching specifically. I'm not here to have a debate with no one. That's why I know a person will never get me into no debates or nothing like that. But I definitely understand where you're coming from, though. But that's the context I be saying about certain things that were just pushed down our throat. Like, for instance, the Willie Lynch. And when I say, well, it's no such thing as a Willie Lynch letter. And then our own people, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I say, okay, well, let's prove it. Then they get upset. Well, you prove it. I said, I said, you said it is. So it's on you to prove that it is. Because if it was a Willie Lynch letter, it'd be in the Library of Congress. It's not one, you know? You said, when I was speaking of slavery, it was a choice in general. Okay, now let's go. Okay, now let's go. A choice in general, because I always got to come back, because you said when I was speaking of slavery, it was a choice in general. A choice for who? A choice for who? For both parties? What about the people, they say, the more so the so-called black people out in history? Because I got a lot of that on social media. I be thinking it's to spook you out of, keep you away. Great question, brother. See, that's not this. Let's talk about some stuff. Yes. So let's be very, 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 very specific. When you go to the continent of Africa, what European country was in the Congo? Remember? Belgium, right? You remember Patrice Lumumba? You remember the assassination of Patrice Lumumba? You got to watch the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. Those European countries couldn't do everything without what? The help of their people. Patrice Lumumba, top general, sold him out. So when we talk about casualty, when we talk about war and all that stuff, it's happening right now in the continent of Africa. It's happening right now in the hood, Crips and Bloods. Like I tell people, it's happening right now in families. So when people put a narrative on something that don't even make sense, I said, oh, that's crazy. I said, this tribe's killing tribes right now. I said, and for someone to put that narrative on you to keep you away from history, it's like, okay, what that got to do with anything? Because brothers killing brothers today. Like, what are we talking about? And I'd be like, but I don't hear. I said, right now, you go to the continent of Africa where they slaughter and everything for educational purposes only. What's the difference? You see? So yeah, that's what you get. A lot of stuff, social media. That's why I keep telling people. I said we get a lot of stuff from social media. We get a lot of stuff from social media. This is what I tell people. I say scholarship. Like I get that. I get social media. I get a lot of things. A lot of stuff people to be talking about, they'll fail. That's why a lot of people don't go to scholarship. I tell a lot of people if they know so much, well, challenge academia. Like I did, and came out with. I graduated with honors from a Christian university. My oral dissertation, I proved that the misnomer black man was the father of civilization, proved by the Bible alone, without no biasness. Without no biasness. That's why I be laughing from Grand Canyon University with a dual master's degree. I did an oral dissertation and a written dissertation. If it wasn't that hot, I would have had my fez on, but I had my kufi on. So yeah, we get a lot of stuff on social media. I heard a person say the Moors didn't rule Spain. I said, I got Stanley Lane Poole. I got European scholar. I said, man, I don't know why. What's wrong? Because everything is not scholarship. It's Eurocentric and NEGRO-centric propaganda, with all due respect. For all educational purposes only. For all educational purposes only. This work already been done. That's why it behooves me when people be trying to argue. I said, y'all, this work, how can a person say they a student of Dr. Ben and disagree with what I'm saying, and John Henry Clark and Ivan Van Sertima? Be like, what? And the rest of the scholars. Not only them, the European scholars, Bertram Thomas, Albert Churchward, Gerald Massey. Hell, our other African Moor scholars, Sheikh Anta Diop. I'll be like, what are we talking about? John Henry Clark. Like, come on, man. We're going to sit up here and just let people play semantics with us out of all these great people that's done the work. And I challenge academia. I got so many books written by, no disrespect, Europeans that tell you about this Moorish history. I share them. That's why I be laughing. I be like, man, people don't be teaching their kids this stuff. They study this. They got all the books. I got a full library with a plethora of books. All those books I just showed y'all by those European writers of Moorish history, all this stuff. I got Godfrey Higgins. I got everything. I got a whole library of Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall is just lower level wisdom. Man, they got a Manly P. Hall library at the Philosophical Research Society that I'm part of. I be telling people all that stuff Manly P. Hall talk about is snowman wisdom. With all due respect, Adam Blavatsky, Pascal Beverly Randolph, it's all snowman wisdom. Edgar Case, it's all snowman wisdom. With all due respect, from no disrespect, for no disrespect to no one. I mean, the work already been done. And if you're 32 and 33 degrees, that's when water freezes. That's snowman wisdom. With no disrespect, it's more. It's more when I superimpose it. It's way more. It's much, much more. But this is what we have become when we let social media subjugate us. When I say the Hebrew per se and the Egyptian per se was the same per se. When I say when you tarried in things, when you started looking at things just from this context, like in Egypt, you had two full-blown Hebrew pharaohs, Sabatos and Sebatos. You know, so I'm not here to argue with no one about nothing. I can even show you who the blackamoor is per se, and who the real Jew, the Igbo and the Igbo, and I can show you professors that have been there. The whole thing is there. So from no disrespect, you know, and that's all I tell my brothers and sisters. So we let people subjugate us because we let people put a cap on things and say, well, this is that. And I say, well, how can you let someone tell you who you are? Like how? Like that's the thing. No one can tell you who you are. When I ask people the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, people don't even know what that is. What is the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? Somebody tell me. My homie said, brother, he was like, man, he was like, if you in the church, they'll be screaming, throwing money. I don't get no money. I got some of my people on the GCU on here. Peace, Professor. Y'all should come on. Y'all should come on my other platform and see what everybody be saying. I got a professor that's 85 from GCU. That's a Scottish Rite, a Mason, and a potentate in Arizona. When I be teaching about Tubal Cain, I'll be showing that. When I be showing about Haram Abiff, when I showed everybody that in the Bible, he was like, is that the truth? But the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, do y'all know what that is? The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? See, a lot of stuff we got to let people have, y'all. We got to let people that's not going nowhere. We got to let all them people that think they're different and this, not another, let them go. And then the prophet already did this, the uniting of Asia, when he had all them brothers come together to create the Moorish Zion Temple, all them brothers with different headdresses on. The mystic shrine, the Mason, the Brotherhood, all the other brothers. How y'all think in his book, The Chosen Ones, Wentworth Matthews, in the front of the Moorish Zion Temple of the Moorish Jews in before 1948, before the Moorish, before the Israel flag was created, huh? You know, they all allegorical story than the Bible. Yes, exactly. It's an allegorical story of explaining who's the so-called buried in a shallow grave. Absolutely. And where he's buried and who had the tools to do it. The same science the European Masons are under. That's why the European Masons are sons of Muslims. That's why I said a person gonna dig a hole, because if a person is a European Mason, they're a son of a Muslim. So then you're gonna have to start opening up. That's why they're not a widow's son. Point blank. So the rabbit hole gonna continue to get deep. It's gonna continue to get deep and deep and deep. And then we can keep opening it up. I got you. So yep, I understand. That's why I tell people it's esoteric and exo. The Bible is written in analogy, parable, symbology, and metaphor. And then it's a certain language as well. That's why it's tools. And then you must be able to break down the cipher, because it's a cipher in there as well. It's just point blank. So that's why I say everybody is at a certain level. That's why I would never argue with no one. I never go there. But when most people are part of things, it's just gonna come out. Why? Because I got your charter. With all due respect. With all due respect, that I just left my mom friend. She was an Eastern Star older. I do her line. We sit and talk every day. She like, yeah, that's why you got your own charter. I tell my empresses they stars of the East. With all due respect, they under the DAR, which is the Door of the American Revolution. That came with the marriage license. That's the litigation. That's third party. It ain't no disrespect. That's why when you see that it's sideways, it's not a perfect penta. With all due respect, man. It's no disrespect to no one. And just like the Prince Hall brothers took an oath, the Eastern Star as well. They under the DAR, which is the other melanin, the Alban, the European, just like the other, because I just told you. With all due respect, that's why people. I just, and that's what I'll be saying. That like a lot of times they talk in a code that's elementary. I just revealed it. They know if they are a Mason, if they went to the Blue Lodge, when they go, they know this. They study whatever. They study Christianity, whatever you want to call it. If they operating right, everything what I'm saying is on the table. When they get to the higher house, they become a practicing Muslim. They become a practicing Muslim. They already know this. Now a lot of the misnomer black Muslims want to be accepted by the other man, which to me is, hey, it is what it is. Okay, this one about to die, so I got to cut this off. Okay, let me cut this one off. Cut now it off. They have to get some of that later. Yeah, that one did. Let me turn that up. But yeah. So it's no secret. Like I got a mufti. His dad was a Mason. My dad, I told you, my dad is right now elder, 80. So I don't have nothing to hide. That's why I laugh. I say, man, please. I know European Masons, that's Scottish Rite Masons, and they sons of Muslims. When that Prince Hall is like a mystic name. That's why they say to be one, you must know one. When do all Masons know everything or know a little bit of science? It all depends on if they went to academia or if that's their personal interest. Because you can be in Masonry and know nothing, just be in it just for the pageantry, just for the just for the events, just for the the ceremonies. You can be in it just for that. That have to be your personal interest. And if that ain't your personal interest, and then it ain't nobody in the lodge personal interest, then what? Now, from the European lodges that I'd have been in, like the Scottish Rite, that my professors, why I had to open up my lodge, they study. They study for real. Like for real, like how I do, they study for real. Everything I talk about, they study for real. That's why I be laughing. Man, I got books by one of my professors that I knew from Harvard. He's under the Judea. He's the chair of the Judea Studies, and it's a book called Jesus or the Talmud. And when I say they call Jesus everything but a son of God, that's why I be laughing. I said people have no idea of nothing. With all due respect, and most of people that we think heavy are Masons. You can't be mad at me. Most of them, 99.9% of the professors, everybody, politicians, everybody that I met, prosecutor, attorneys, Masons, especially in Arizona, Masons. And most of the brothers in our neighborhood that's preachers and all this, and nothing ain't happening, either Masons or Greek fraternities. We research Steve Coakley from educational purposes only. Research Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley is old. Steve Coakley had the book, had the whole doc series, the Greek is FRAUD, for educational purposes only. Research what he was saying. Research this history. Can't be mad at me. And then I always transparent. My uncle, my mom in there. My mom right here. My uncle passed. My uncle Michael Finney used to work for the governor Snyder. He was Boulay. That's why I tell people, I said, man, I'm transparent. That's why I got my own charter. I was on academia at GCU for all those years with all those professors, all those people that was heavy. That's why I have to operate on my own. That's why I created my own. That's why the other man worked with me. I would have, that's why I haven't taken no oath. That's why I can speak like this. That's why I get to go on college campuses, all this, and say and speak like this. And they know me. I'm Melchizedek in Arizona. Ask my parents. Ask all my Jewish professors. I get love for people. Like, for no disrespect. I live in Arizona. I understand, Dr. York. I understand the science, but I understand, listen to what I say. I understand where the science come from. See, I don't put my faith in figures, but I love the science. I know where he got the science from. I know about the new Anis, all the tablets, all the Egyptian tablets, where it comes from, and a person can be able to put it together in a certain fashion because there's nothing new under the sun. That's all. That's like when I give all the science from man-made in the image of Elohim. When I show people some other sciences that I put together, you'll be like, how? Because it's nothing new. So I get with all science, no matter what color the man is. Now, sometimes absolute power corrupt absolutely, but it is what it is. Most of them did. Listen, since you said it, let's go there. Because I love discussion. I love to have these type of discussions. It's just like, listen, when I was getting my undergrad, when I was going to community college, I'm from Flint, Michigan. So I know a lot of people that's Nation of Islam Muslims, which is fine. Whoop-de-doo. I never get into a debate. My cousin, what's Hassan, Nation of Islam, where he was, and we talk a lot. But anyway, I got a lot of family in Florida, Plant City to be exact. That's where a lot of my family from. But I'm a student of everything. And when a lot of people talk about the Nation of Islam and Fire Muhammad and this, that, and the other, and I say, well, hey, I know during the time in Detroit where a lot of stuff was under the Watchtower, and certain figure was ministering, and another minister named Young, where a lot of that stuff come from. I can show you in the little red book for the Lost Nation of Islam in North America that the square root of the mileage and this and that and the other come from the world almanacs. With all due respect, and no matter how a person feel, if a person say that person is not Fire Muhammad that everybody looking at, fine and dandy. Let's play devil's advocate. When you blow the picture up and when you superimpose the picture, who you think sitting next to him? See, this is where I say scholarship. I'm not here to argue with no one. When everybody want to prove this and prove that, I say, well, that's fine. But we have to still be honest, because when you can do scholarship, you have to see it. And because that picture, if it's not him, then when you blow the picture up, who you think is sitting right next to him on the right? Who y'all think that is? Because if that ain't him, and that picture is the same picture that's everywhere, and we say that's not him, well, who is that with next to him that got in trouble for, that a lot of that stuff happened to that brother that they supposed to sacrifice and all that? Who was the brother next to him then? Do y'all know? Do y'all know who the brother was? You look it up for yourself and pull up the picture. Do y'all know who the brother is? Let me see if I got it. I'm drinking that beet juice. It's so good, man. Anybody know who it is? Somebody said not sure. Come up with something. Come up with something. Who you think it may be? That's a great. Let me see. Why I'm looking for something. Nope. Now remember. Now I said in Detroit. That brother is Ugan Ali. When they have it, when you see the picture, a lot of other times it's just small, and you only see him with the so-called FBI agent above him, right? That's what they say, right? You don't see. Let me see. You don't see Ugan Ali, and then they try to say that was the. Then they try to say that was the Quran, but then some speculate It was the Watchtower book. You know, somebody say, what Watchtower book? You know, Jehovah's Witness Watchtower book, or Rudolph, because during Detroit, he was there during that same time. Now, I ain't saying this what happened. I'm just, when people, a lot of people always try to say, well, this not this and this not that. I say, okay, well, let's see what the periodicals say. Because this periodicals, when it's periodicals. So when we talk about things, you know, when they say these were people, yep, y'all can hit me up, my Gmail, goodmankhary@gmail.com. Detective investigated to learn that the scope of voodooism among ignorant and superstitious Detroit in NBCs, but they were talking about this. I don't want to read it all, but you can see it. You can research it. But you see, that was Ugan Ali. Ugan Ali admits to being Harris' teacher when you research the story. You don't got to listen to me. You know? So I understand what you're saying, Noble. I understand exactly what you're saying. But when we deal with history, we always have to deal with both sides. Because do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? When I say we have to stop, yeah, that's Brother Deuce. Don't you know Deuce and Abdul Hamed Soliman, they knew each other? When people be dissing things, we don't have to do this, I said, but we have brothers from certain areas. Marcus Garvey was the harbinger. I get this, but you had Abdul Hamid Solomon. Hell, you had the Black Hitler of Harlem. You had a plethora of brothers. That's all I be telling us. I said, we can't let people do that, you know? Angelo Solomon, the first Morris Mason. So we can't let the small tittle of individuals mess up our Moorish history. You know? Just like it's so many books, The Amazing Facts of the Negro. Y'all know who wrote all the books? Y'all know who wrote The Amazing Facts of the Negro, right? Come on. A plethora of books, a plethora of volumes. So much history. Like, we don't have to argue with each other with things. And so we could come from matter-factualness. We could come from scholarship, all different dispensations of time. We can even go in Europe. We can even deal with David MacRitchie with the ancient Amata Britons. So let's see who the ancient Amata Britons consist of. Let's see all these things in real time and superimpose things. Because just like in a DAP class yesterday, my Mufti Moso was demonstrating, showing like, hey, what the scholar said, what the anthropologists speak of, what the anthropologists say the Berber consists of, the pirate, the Corsica, all these things. When we don't have to argue, a lot of us just haven't been introduced to the scholarship. And so what happens? The internet. And what happens on the internet? Semantics. And what that happens? Algorithm. And the negative algorithm get promulgated. Why? Because there's a multi-million-dollar industry to keep us confused. You see? It's only one scholarship. It's only one history. No scholars, no professors argue over this. I got Islamic scholars that wear their kaifa and they Shimax down and they're Islamic and they'll tell you and they'll lecture from scholarship, say, well, that Muhammad stuff, all that is just not what you think. It's not really, the dispensation all off, the language off when they come from scholarship. And these professors, with all due respect, when I say I'm not here to argue with no one, but when I talk about the origin of things, it's we got to come from that perspective and show you it can be all washed away. When people profess things, it can be washed away from scholarship. So if it has to be something bigger than what you think. When I say for liberation, nationality and spirituality, it's always a gift. I ask people, what's the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? Once you tell me what the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 consists of, then you shouldn't have a problem with what I'm saying. You should be able to stay in your lane. I'm going to stay in my lane. I know what we can do at the House Joint Resolution. I know what we can do, the religious rights of the indigenous people. I know what we can do with our own charter. I already know. I know we tax exempt for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientific, and all that. I understand what we can do as a people, as a body. I know what we can do with our finances. I know what we can do and get credit. How? Giving people taxes and receipts, and we build our infrastructure. So it's no other way. We don't have to complain. You know, we don't have to complain. It's that simple. What? No one holding us back but our own people. We have gatekeepers. We have people that have took an oath to what? Keep us where we at. To keep us with these classes low. You know? I don't know. I don't know what. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I don't know what that means. He said, my family wrote the federal laws for your people. Oh, okay. All right. That's why I said people be coming on here just saying crazy stuff. Okay. Let's see. Life is divine. I'm just here to remind you. Okay. Well, I don't know what that means, but okay. Most definitely. But yeah, family. But yeah, brother, JD Berry. Yeah, you can hit me up. It's all good. But yeah, man. I hope everybody come on here and keep the peace. No disrespect. This is a safe place. So if people on here want to say anything disrespectful, please keep your things to yourself, because we're having a basic conversation and we don't want anyone on here to put anyone in the wrong place. So when a person saying you people and all this, I don't deal with that. I tell people everyone have a right. When you understand, when I ask a person, what's the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, the Declaration of Human Rights, you know? So these are things, you know, adults should really know, you know? These are things our own people should want to know, like the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15. Everyone have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. And the claim of child replaces the birth certificate. And no one would be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and the right to change it. And the claim of child replaces the birth certificate. So I'm not here on social media to tell no one what to do, you know, and when I get on here, I just hope people keep it professional and keep the respect level at a high level. Because we got enough of that stuff here on social media with us brothers that look like each other on here playing. We should be checking people, you know, that's coming on here playing, if we all here to learn, with all due respect, you know? You say when people go back and forth with me about being black, I try and point to them to Abraham Lincoln case with the Moore. Okay, well, Abraham Lincoln defended the Moore in court. You talking about the Spencer and Dungy? Yeah, well, yes. And then even when you look up in Wilmington, what's that? South Carolina, we researched the white man constitution. It was illegal to be black since the 1800s. It was illegal to be black since the 1800s. Black was not, in the first century, black was not used to describe ethnicity. Black was used to describe the curtain come down in theatrics. That's why when I tell people, I say, man, scholarship, but because someone black, Negro, African American was derogatory. I promise you, I got books. The atrocious ways to use Negro by Brother Moore. I got the research. I lectured this stuff in college. That's why I be telling people I'm not here to argue with no one. I lecture with Europeans, like professors. Like I got books you can dust off. I got old dictionaries with Moore. I said Moore is spelled M-O-H-R, M-O-O-R, M-U-U-R. I got all type of old stuff. I got Thomas Jefferson Quran when they talking about Moors. They're calling you a pirate, a Corsica, or Berber. Don't you know the Freeman is the ancient Amazigian? Research what an Amazigian is. I'll be like, man, brothers got to stop, man. Like, come on, it'd be crazy. And that's why I be telling people I don't get disrespected. I'm able to go. Have any of y'all ever been to Howell, Michigan? Melanated brothers are scared to go to Howell, Michigan. That's where they say the Grand Wizard of the Klan stay. But my alumni, my Clear University, we have the main campus out there. So I got my insignia on my car, my logo. You know, I go right through. They know who I am. I go there all the time since when I'm home. I've been going twice a week. That's where I got my dual bachelor's degree from. One of the hardest business. That's why I didn't go to University of Michigan, because it didn't challenge me. I did a semester at University of Michigan. I did that with my eyes closed. But Cleary was hard, and I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to know what I was doing. And Cleary, it challenged me because I had to do a capstone after every class. And that's how it put me in this position, you know? That's how it put me in this position, you know? You know, so I'm just being honest, you know? So those are the things that I'm able to bring back to my brothers and sisters. I'd be like, nah, man, it's a little bit more deeper than what we think. Especially when it comes to religion. I'd be like, it's deeper. That's why I'm not on no one side. A lot of people be misquoting words. I had to talk to these religious people, man. When I was telling this dude, when they be arguing with the other man, the European Albion, the troglodytes, and they talk about, and they was using the word out of context like Laban. And then they were like, well, I know a brother that go to the college and this, and that, and the other. And he don't speak like that. He treat everybody kind and this, and that, and the other. And he said, well, shut up, Laban. And everybody was laughing, you know. And then didn't know that this is science. When you misquote text, Laban is white literally, not per se white nationality per se. But say for educational and for scholarship purposes only, say if it did, now you done messed up. Why? Because if that's the case, watch this. If that's the case, this is how you stick a fork in them. They can't say nothing. This is for he was arguing with the Hebrew Israelite brothers. He said, if that's the case, if Laban mean white man per se, that you say, sir, Jacob married Laban's two daughters. So did Jacob marry the WHIT man's two daughters? Huh? This what I tell people. I say, don't get caught up in religious semantics. Don't get caught up in debate. Don't get caught up. Oh, this person won because this person said this. Like, or this they say in the Christians say in the Quran that this person married this girl at this age. Well, in the Bible, same thing. Like you can find the similar things in both. They got the same patriarch, Abraham. Like you're not gonna play semantics with me, Miriam, Mary. Like okay, like and everybody know it's the truth. But this is what been played on you. So if that's the case, we have to have something bigger as a people. And this is what I talk about: solidarity, understanding. All sages, all God, man, they told you to know thyself. When you talk about Neville Goddard, he would learn from the Ethiopian rabbi. All science, all scholarship, all holy man, know thyself. Like these is keys. And then, man, I keep telling people, man, this is the tabernacle built without hands. Man was made in the image of Elohim. I keep telling my brothers and sisters, what you mean? The most holy place, the holy place, and the court around about. Everything in the tabernacle that's built without hands symbolizes your body, from the veins to everything, from the color. All these things is in the tabernacle. If you understand these things, then you know how to function. This science, this is scientific matter. This is the perfect pentagram. And this is what I'm trying to show people. It's like, listen, man, no, we can teach our baby this at a young age. We can teach our baby this at a young age. So I don't go back and forth with no one to try to tell no one, to try to convert no one. And then I say, well, what is black according to science, according to law? Black is civil mortis. So if black is civil mortis, that means black has no standing in law. So why would you want to go to court in that concept? And in this context, we'll say, well, black has some standing in law. No, it don't. Not when it pertaining to nationality, it's civil mortis. Only people that get paid for the so-called black slave is the person that created them. Real talk. No disrespect. This is just what it is. And if you having a lawyer, I don't care if you get Ben Crump and y'all say, well, for fight for black rights or civil rights, they know they're gonna lose. I'm telling you gonna lose. I'm telling you gonna lose, but they still gonna get paid because black have no rights. You got to understand that. That these is the thing. If nationality is the order of every day, then people should understand it's the work has been done, and you annex your elder bay. You don't have to do a status correction because you are your mother and your child. You annex your suffix. You annex. You annex. You annex. You annex. You annex. And if you're part of a temple and school, then what? You are what? Adopted in that set. Then you are what? Amongst your peers, your culture. Understand what I'm saying. The religious rights trump a lot of this stuff. People don't understand it. The religious rights trump everything. Do you think the Mormon and Amish participate in things they don't want to? No. The religious rights trump these things. And this is what I try to tell brothers and sisters. I'm not here to argue with no one. I never send no one to do nothing crazy. There's no such thing as no sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. You can't expatriate from some so-called de facto government from educational purposes only, because when you do that, then who you are affiliate to. You're going to be for educational purposes only, you will be a domestic terrorist, foreign and abroad. These are facts. You will be a stateless individual, a prime candidate for the FEMA camp, which they all like to talk about. And these is facts, man, for educational purposes only. You can't let nobody do these things to you. You can't let nobody say, well, tell you something that Noble Drew Ali taught, and then say, well, show me on paper what he taught, because I can show you. Didn't teach this stuff. They teach no people to file this and expatriate for this de facto government. Then when you do that, then what? Then what? Then when you do that, tell me what? You ain't even thought that far? Or I'm gonna expatriate for this de facto government. Then who you affiliates with? I'll wait. You know? I got a couple. Yeah, that's Morris Trainer. Yep. But I got a couple, man, for my businesses. Yep, but that's one. You can send me a email, Goodman, Khary, Khary @gmail.com. But my main page is like Moorish_haberdasher. Moorish_haberdasher. And you connect to the rest of them. But like I said, I ain't here to argue with no one. Everybody be saying, with all due respect, the Moorish Science Temple this of America. And I say, are you sure? Because the Moorish Science Temple of America, we have bylaw, we have a charter. Especially if people say they sheet from the Moorish Science Temple, well, you should have the same paper that I have, and it tell you what we should be doing, nothing else. Everything else, if you talking law and all that stuff, you should be a student or a professor in law. And everything you should be doing should be matter factual. You should have precedent in law cases, doc number. You should not be teaching nobody nothing to get them in trouble. You don't have no corporate debt. You can't cancel no corporate debt. You a willing obligor. All these things I be telling people, like, you ain't did nothing under duress. You didn't. So when you go in there, you can go under a false pretense. I be telling people, I said, in Florida, squatters have no rights. I'm telling you, ain't nobody, squatters don't have no rights. That's not a tenant and landlord. This is what I tell people. And when you let somebody convince you to do that, then you got the wrong paper and you willingly went into a contract with these people. Now you got litigation. These are things that I teach people. I said, dude, like, we got to stop this stuff. It's a way to do things the proper way. If Moors want to buy property and move to a certain area and do the great migration, my city of Flint is a beautiful place right now. Why? Because a lot of stuff is changing. The water was messed up, but a lot of people moved away. It used to be over 200-some thousand people. Now it's less than like 70,000. It's a lot of houses that land bank own. And now we getting these mugs and people donating. We getting them for pennies. And people that know how to do the work is coming and volunteer. This is how we can change a whole certain area. This is how we do it. And we're going to buy one of these church buildings and turn it into our temple and school. This is the power that I'm talking about. We can do how? With the money that we given. So a lot of stuff, I don't have time for it. You know, I don't have time for people to be playing like they some Moroccan general or they some president of Morocco. And I say, well, who appointed you? How long is your tenure? Why you don't live in Morocco? You can't be the president of Morocco or the Moroccan general over here in the United States. Like that's what we talking about. Like a lot of stuff, when I tell people, man, I be saying the aptitude of some of us adults playing Moorish Monopoly is really crazy. With all due respect, y'all. That's all I'm saying. A lot of this stuff is meaningless. Just like all people got to do is ask. It ain't no certain law if a Moor do something to a U.S. citizen or vice versa. If a U.S. citizen do something to a Moor, that Moor is going to be judged in the same parameter of that U.S. citizen. That's the consular courts. Like, it's no magic. I promise y'all that when people saying the Moors don't pay taxes, yeah, because they was using the AA22 number. Now that's crushed. Why would you want to do that? And I'm part of the Moorish Zion Temple. We got 3 IDs: a travel ID, a tax ID, and a membership. My temple and school, which is tax exempt for the federal government, we got a tax exempt ID. Just like if you're part of a church or Islamic sect, they're tax exempt. So I don't know what people be talking about. And so when my people donate things, you're tax exempt for the government, religious and charitable, scientific, educational wise. So we donate, and a lot of funds that me and my muftis and a lot of the people that donate to the BBT, we take a small fraction of that and try to buy property in our neighborhood, and then it takes us a while to fix it up because we just started. But we getting the property for under 10,000, and now we got a lot of people that know how to do the work, and it's taking us a while, but I knew this was going to happen because I saw the Jewish community doing it. I saw my misnomer Chinese community do it. I saw a lot of people do it. The Protestants do it. I saw my misnomer Mexican partners do it in Arizona. And so they're like, and you a minister and you got your people, it's like, do they know what you're doing? I said, I'm just showing the work. But in my city of Flint, it's how can I say? It's more probable to do more things because of the property tax and because of the multitude of homes that's just sitting that the land bank owns. So we just have to bid on them. And now we got a lot of people that can pull the permits. And I'm just showing people real work that can be done, like really building a library with just the money that we giving to Uncle Sam, So a lot of stuff, like I said, I got to get out of here. So a lot of stuff for me is just not my passion, y'all. But I always will teach you something. And I hope you will learn something from me. And I'll never, ever send no one into a burning house. I promise you that. I'm always going to tell you something or educate you some enlightenment. That's why I tell people, hit me up, ask me questions. I'm an elder. Like it might make you hurt you, but you're going to know because everything has already been done. It's a book called The Influencer, and that's how people be playing people. I'll be like, it's a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme. Then these people be doing payola on y'all and research what payola is. And then they're not as smart as Bernie Madoff. So all these things, I'm going to be able to show you this before it happened. Be like, look, this was going to happen. Why? Because it's Fuji dust. And the ironic thing is our own people only do this to our own people. Why? Because we are easy target. Why? Because the illusion and the mystic of someone magically making it or someone making it off game. And look what happened to all these individuals. You see, look what happened, that people use religion or spirituality and they switch up. And now it's happening all over. And I tell people, be very, very careful because all we got to do is talk about these things. I told y'all a long time ago where people get fake responses. It's just like when I was a director, when I was working for a college and we had people that answer the phones when you on the internet looking at stuff and they'll answer and they'll call you, hey, are you trying to go to this school? It's the same thing. It's like fake leads. And so I'll be telling people, I'm like, man, you got to be careful from these individuals. No one is making this type of money where you can drive around in these exotic cars all day. I know where this is from. I be in Vegas. I keep telling people, and why will somebody want to do that all day? What's the work that you're doing? I always tell people you have to question everything. Well, if you got time to ride around all day and you teaching something, what are you teaching? Are you teaching something that everyone can do, or are you teaching something that'll get a person in trouble? Because why would any adult want to learn a scam? I don't get it, especially if you call yourself a moral or a righteous person. What course you think you can take that's going to help you? You got to be honest with yourself, brothers and sisters, because if that's the case, someone charging you for things, for sauce, like, are you serious? So someone charging you for sauce, So what are you trying to, what, all you got to do is be honest. What are you trying to get from under? And what are you trying to get? I always ask people that. And then when you really think about it and sit down and have a thought with your higher self, because everybody say it's to know thyself. You sit down and have a conversation with your higher self to know yourself. What you're doing is a waste of time. So you're not doing that for your higher self. What you doing it for? Personal gain. And you see, and this is what happens. This is payola. All these people with these podcasts that have these individuals on there, they ain't right. It's payola. And they think our people don't have any common sense. Think about it. Why? Because look who it's programmed to. It's not programmed to a 13 or 14. It's programmed to an adult. Think about this. Think about this. And think about the psychosis of this. So now we promoting the lifestyle. Oh my goodness. And so this is what we get caught up in. Don't this sound like the same type of, with all due respect, I have to say it, the type of lower self, Morris, sovereign citizen stuff wrapped up in Roger Elvick stuff with all for educational purposes only. Don't it sound like the same thing? Come on, brothers and sisters, I'm asking you. Like, come on, we got to start holding people accountable. We got to start holding our community accountable for leading people in these burning houses for educational purposes only. We have to start holding people accountable. No one's coming to us doing this stuff to us. And this is the thing when people be saying, oh, they, I'll be like, they who? So let's look at who telling us some of this outlandish stuff and having you breaking the law adult, all these so-called gurus. And now we got the same gurus riding around in the car with the same stuff. I said, dude, this stuff don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. All the stuff is meaningless. You know, and everybody know it. And look at all these individuals. They gonna keep reinventing themselves. They got to keep reinventing themselves over and over. Why? Because then products don't be selling. So you got to talk about what's popular. So it's a circle. You got to get on this panel and get on this payola realm. So just because a person may talk about vegetables enough, then they get in and talk about it, and your ideas attached to this, and you get that community, you get that crowd. That's payola. I'm trying to tell people that, man, I'm telling you what I know, man. Everything, the misnomer black man is studied on both levels. You have to understand this. And when I talk about things, I say, brother, I'm telling you, the target is on. Especially us on social media, the ones, especially these adults that's playing, I said, the target is on. I'm being matter-factual. You can't go and profess that, yes, this is Moorish Science Temple of America, and the person say, for the record, and you say, for the record, this is Moorish Science Temple of America. You got your sign from the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then they got the information, which you can be proven not true. Because how a person operating, that's not Moorish Science Temple of America. A person got that from wherever they got it from. I'm telling you, it's nothing nobody have to do with all the stuff people saying you finna create your own tribe. And like I say, it's really nothing to do. And when I tell people, talk to your grandmother now, talk to them, you annex your El Obey, like talk to your family. This is why I say when people need to calm themselves down, and I say, ain't nobody, it's one nationality, many cultures. What I'm telling people, we have to understand our Moorish culture. Why? Because that's something that's known. Man, just ask if anybody. Well, I don't even have my Meta glasses on because I got them bad boys. Say Meta, who is Noble Drew Ali? It'll tell you some things. It'll say an American hero. Like I don't understand why we have a problem with what's going on with everything, because we can have a conversation of things. We'll give credit to Alicia Levi and say, well, Noble Drew Ali plagiarized from the Aquarian Gospels, and Alicia Levi was nothing but a transcriber. Brothers be quoting Zachariah Stinson, and Zachariah Stinson talk about the Anunnaki is some alien, and Anunnaki is the Iberian. And Zachariah Stinson, that's propaganda. These is keys. I lecture this in academia, man. Didn't read no tablets. When you look at the Anunnaki, they dress like you and me. When you got the lexicon, when they got their tunic, cotton or silk, with the sash, with the topi or the tarbouche, with the beard, with the scimitar, with the sandals. It's an allegorical or a metaphor explanation of who this was in Iberia. I mean, I'm trying to tell people, I'll be like, okay. This is nothing to argue about. Even when I talk about Ibn Battuta, Islamic scholars that come, this is so much more. Even when I talk about the war of Ferdinand and Isabella, it's just so much that we can take a real look at when we see certain people in certain areas already here. Things was going on when people say, well, these the Moors sold these people out, I'll be like, see, that once again, a narrative is not being told and explained in a proper manifestation to get a group of people to infight. That's been going on for eons and peons. But that's what we do. That's what we do. How? For us to be scattered. For us don't understand one nationality, many cultures. No one's stripping no one from no culture. If you look at culture, then you'll be like, oh, it's one nationality, many cultures. And then these people agree. That's how they had a nation. That's what the Uniting of Asia. Oh, it's one nationality, many cultures. Then once you agree, then bam, the floodgates open. But that's the science. What we get back to, no one's telling you to throw your understanding away because you should understand. You should have a clear understanding. If you're studying more science, and you a religious person, I think something is wrong because you should understand the triple roles, the Fatimid, the Paraclete, and the Jerusalem. You should understand those sciences. You should understand the Sephirosh. You should understand the Kemetic principles. You should understand language. You should understand denotation, connotation. It's a plethora of other tools that you should be able to understand. You should be able to be a student and learn. You should want to do that. You should want to be the best physical stature inside and out. So you will be working out with us. You will be standing on your square. And more science standing on your square is supporting your temple and school for we can manifest the things that we need to manifest. Why? Because we should. Or are we giving it to Uncle Sam? That's why. If not, I ain't talking to you. I don't have to convince no one. When a person say, well, why do we do this? Because this is what we do. Because this is what we do. And, we don't have to explain nothing because this is what we do. It's righteous for us. And when you look at what's going on, this is what's going on. We want to do this in a bigger manifestation. We want our brick and mortar. We want our library. We want our community center. We want our after school activities. We want our senior programs. We want our mentoring program. We want all this in-house. We want this. And we can do this with the money that we're giving to Uncle Sam. And we can donate to our temple and school and build infrastructure. That's why. The same way others have done. And so that's all I wanted to say to y'all, man. Family, get with your bro, get with your brother, But my email is my name, Goodman, GOODMAN, KHARY @gmail.com. Send me an email. My handle, all my information is on my handle on social media, on TikTok, and if you're on YouTube, just look at my handle. If anybody want to donate and you do, send me an email and say, Sheik, I sent $5. I say, okay, I'm going to send you a piece of literature. Why? Because I can. And I'm telling you, I got a full library. I'll bless you. You can print a lot of stuff if you want to and bind it. But if people serious, if y'all want to come to class, if you want to be a member, we got a lot going on. And like I said, what's coming up? I think we're going to do it in July. A lot of my muftis will be coming to the city of Flint. We're going to run the Krim, and we're going to be doing another lecture speaking in my city of Flint. Once I get the date, everybody is more than welcome to come. I said we're going to be running the Krim. Oh, and everything go right. We're getting our booth set up for the 810 day so we can do that backpack giveaway and Michigan Day at Huckleberry Railroad. So I think those things will be going on around the same time. But if my muftis can't be here for all of it, I know my other partner in Vegas that we created the Ascend Ministry with here in Michigan. He would be here. But yeah, man, if y'all got any skills or want to be a part of what we're doing or anybody need books or regalia, get with me, man. Like, once again, I told everyone we have 10 acres in Kingsman, Arizona. We're getting ready to get more. So hopefully in the next we'll see, because we got a lot of things in the bag, but it's good to have these two things in the bag because we want that, that land so we can build, our farm, and build on 6% of the land. We want that to have that just in case anything happens. We might have to pack our trailers up, or if we just want to go camping and be on our land and XYZ, and somebody can be out there a plethora of time and grow, make sure the stuff growing right in the greenhouse. But yeah, man, if people want to support our temple and school, if you want books, if you want regalia, If you need a fez, you know, we sell them on our page. Check out morrishaberdashery.com. We got some dope stuff on there. Like I said, y'all get with me, man. My email is Goodman, GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. Send me an email. Send me an email. Say peace, Sheik. Say peace, Brother Goodman. Peace, Brother Bey. I'll say peace back to you. But if you send a donation, I'll send you a couple pieces of literature. You know, I got some good stuff that you will be like, whoa. And you don't have to ask, what should you read? What should I read? I'm going to give you things that based off the questions that you ask and based off the vibration that I feel for you, because I'm a people person, I'm a contact person. And you will see when you meet me in the flesh, ask all my muftis. That's just how I roll. I do tarets and all that, but I don't share it on social media because I don't promote that. That's not nothing I promote. That's just a gift, you know. But real talk, man, if people need anything, far as tunics, anything you see me that I wear on social media, I provide it. But I really hope people do business with us, because a lot of times in my for-profit businesses, I do take a nice percentage of that to put to the side, because I'm gonna use a lot of my finances for us to buy one of these buildings in my city of Flint and turn it into our community center and our library and our after-school activities and our computer lab, you know, and our fraternal brotherhood for our young people. We started them off at a young age, 4th grade. We started them off, you know. So when they'll be going to school, they'll be having a nice blazer on with their logo, with their fez or their turban, whatever the season permits or whatever they like. And our Empress is wearing a turban and a white fez with the tassels. That's what they want, because that's how we gonna roll with their jackets. And they being proud and they learning everything at a young age if we are the first to everything. And I think that's our duty. That's our duty. And also to teach our young boys to be physical fit, to be self-sustained, to make sure their room's clean, to make sure they know how to do the same thing their sisters know how to do. What? Clean up, know how to cook, know how to garden. All these things we can teach. How? Because we can. How? Because we got the space. We can show them how to auto mechanics. We can do so much and change the world. Why? Because this is what more science about. Doesn't y'all know more science was a school? More science was no Islamic sect or no to overthrow no government. The More Science Temple of America is a school. Is a school. And that's what I am, the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Here to teach all my brothers and sisters how to be upright, how to be proud of who they are, and how to be the clock of destiny for real at a young age, and to use that brain and to use all their tools and to be proud wrong with that. And so once again, man, I thank y'all, and I'm willing to build with all y'all, man. I love everybody, you know, but I have pride of who I am. Don't y'all know in the Bible, the followers of Yahshua wore the turban with a jewel on it? They wore tunics, cotton or silk. I just tell brothers and sisters, I don't get no disrespect for none of my European, Albion, or troglodyte colleagues in Arizona or Michigan. Every time they see me, they be like, peace, Sheik. I be like, well, damn. They be like, well, yeah, I like your religious headdress. They're like, you're not an Islam Muslim, are you? And I'll be like, no. I'll be like, well, how can you tell? They be like, we don't be seeing nobody dressed like that, no Muslims like that. One of the European ladies, I had all my beads. She was like, well, your energy is just high and you pleasant, you know? And I was like, wow. She was telling me how they had a metaphysical store and this, not, and the other. She gave me some sage, this, not, and the other. We trade cars. She was like, you have a book company? Boom, yep. Buying so many books from me. I give her a lot. She's like, this is amazing. Because people are into things if you're into it. And when I moved to Arizona, I met way more people that didn't look like me that's into the stuff that I'm into. And that's specifically at the metaphysical stores with all my crystal bowls and my Tibetan bowls. I got all different size bowls. I got all different tarot cards. I got all my Aligua, my Santeria, my Orisha. It's a lot that I do in my private. Why? Because I deal with my 12 African spirits. I don't diss anything. I understand who I am. I understand culture. Religions has took a lot of our stuff and put it to a fraction. No disrespect. I'll show you a set of European Jews. That's where you think they got the chick. Where you think they get that from? That comes from a whole set of indigenous people, with all due respect. With all due respect. So I don't get rid of my culture. I know who I am. I challenge you to know who you are. And we have a plethora of prophets that we should uplift. Just like when they talk about Credo Matua, the Zulu, and how David Icke got rich off Credo Matua. Just like we talk about more dying, bamboo falls, like we understand this science. When we talk about medicine men and shaman and people that can educate young people and change your community, a person that understands economics and knowing how to take this and creating something and say, hey man, we are a religious community that's tax exempt for the federal government, religious and charitable and contribution wise. We're going to use a huge percentage of this money that we're giving to Uncle Sam and donate to this or our religious and charitable contribution of our choice, which is our religious organization, and help this infrastructure build. And we just get a taxes and receipt. You got to understand this. And that's why when a lot of athletes, when they done playing and they may have a money manager and that money manager, yes, is paying they taxes, but say that money manager is promoting their friends non-for-profit and donating a large chunk of that to that also somewhere else to Uncle Sam, but financing that. And so after the years, you done donated millions and if they are associated, they donate millions to this organization. So when they done dealing with you, their organization is fat. You fulfilled your tax bracket, but you didn't know. You could have directed, said, hey, just say if you're in the state of California and I just say you make 10 million or whatever million a year and your tax, you owe $1 million a year. And the state of California, and I'm just going a small tittle, they say you can donate 60% of your earned income before taxes to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice that you owe Uncle Sam. So you can say, well, I'm gonna give $600,000 to the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Now you owe $400,000. The rest, you can say, I'm gonna give the rest to Uncle Sam or whatever, how it must go. But off top, you can give $600,000 to the BBT. Boom, and you got all your people doing that. That's how this works. And the floodgates is open and it's over, and we hold that accountable. And it's nothing else to be done. I tell people it takes way more to have a functioning school 5 days a week. People just get over their head, and I say people do have good intentions, but they don't admit when they over their head. And sometimes people don't be having intentions off the top. But make a long story short, I know what it takes to have a functioning school. You got to have teachers, you got to have lunch, you got to have busing. That's a lot. That's a lot. People don't understand the power of your religious organization that you have. And so you have 7th hour and you have summer school. And until you get big like that, you can have a private schooling where that can be done. It's just like a homeschooling, but it's like a private schooling when the time be. But if you don't have the infrastructure and the volunteers and the manpower to do it, you can't do it. It's overwhelmed. But you can't have 7th hour. You can't have summer school, summer camp to build yourself up into knowing how to do this, to build yourself up when you have a certain amount of kids there from longer hours, 5 days a week, and see what type of programs you have, because I have it, and see who you can have volunteer, and if people schedule, and see what type of grants you can get, not loan grants, how to be able to use that grant to how can we say, to pay or give the people that's working or volunteering something for their time. And so those are the things that you do once you go in there, once you get to that level, but you got to get to that level. You got to be willing to do these things first. How? Willing to have 7th hour, willing to have summer camp, willing to see who's going to volunteer, what college students are going to volunteer, get the people involved. We got to be giving them something. I know how to do this because I've done it for other organizations. And so when we do this for ourselves, it's all tax exempt. Everybody get a tax exempt receipt. We have our library. When the kids say, well, Sheik, you have a library, they ain't teaching us this. And why all these books you have, they don't have. They have them all, but they're not going to teach them. They in the libraries. I can go in any library right now and pull everything down or something similar, because it's not in no African-American history. It's in the dark ages, in the medievals. It's in the antebellum times. It's language. It might say dark ages. You might have to see in Europe. You might have to go there. You might have to look up specific authors, like Godfrey Higgins and things. You might have to look up specific authors. You would be like, oh, and then certain things start happening because certain historical references is going to start just popping things up. And a lot of people, you got to remember, a lot of people, no disrespect, Europeans wrote in a pseudonym, AKA a pen name. So you can't catch on, because if they went against the church back then, they would be, you know what? So they wrote under their pseudonym. And see, I clear a lot of that up too. Just like the New Testament, with that's the Pesos family. And people be so sure about that. I'll be like, man, I did this in scholarship. You can be all manufactured and huff and puff and snot out your nose with due respect. But I guarantee you, somebody that don't look like me will be like, but this man is giving you the history of it. We understand what you're saying, but you can't argue with that. And that's what I be telling people, you're not dealing with scholarship, with all due respect. So once again, brothers and sisters, I give y'all honor. I give y'all love. Rock with your boy. I gave y'all my email, Goodman, GOODMAN, KHARY @gmail.com. You send a small donation. If you want, I give you a beautiful piece of literature. And you don't have to, but at least share this and come to class, because I was gonna break some science down, but we went too long. We got to having a beautiful conversation. But tomorrow is Sunday school. I love y'all. Subscribe to our Temple and School YouTube channel, Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School, and subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Khary Ibna Hakim Goodman Bey. Once again, our Temple and School YouTube channel, Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. My YouTube channel is my name, Khary Ibna Hakim Goodman Bey. And, peace.